Last week, I decided to start playing this game the way I did back when I was a dumb, imaginative kid. You know, coming up with nonsensical theories and just kinda looking way too far into things. We found some pretty neat stuff last week and started to form a theory that time travel is a major part of Mario's journey. Today we're gonna move from Bob on Battlefield and Womp's Fortress to Jolly Roger Bay and Cool Cool Mountain. These have always been some of my favorite levels. I just love the music and the setting. They're such fun levels to be in. I decided to do a little commentary as I explored these levels so you can hear what I was thinking when I was going through. I started things off with Cool Cool Mountain. Before entering the level, I decided to take a look around the painting room. The 3 paintings is really weird. If you look at them, you can see they're kind of off the wall a little bit, which makes you think you can't go in those, you know? Because they're just planes, they're not the same kind of thing. But who knows, maybe they could, like, switch to this type of asset. I mean, how cool would it be if there was a secret level like that? I used to live for that kind of stuff. It really makes you wonder, maybe we will find something in this level. Let's head on in. The first thing that I noticed was this sign. It says Santa Claus isn't the only one who can go down a chimney. Come on in. Cabin proprietor. I guess this shouldn't be that surprising since Mario did enter the Mushroom Kingdom from the real world, but it's still cool to see Santa Claus mentioned in a sign here. After entering the cabin, I'm struck with a bit of a mystery. How exactly does this huge cavern fit inside of the mountain? The whole inside of this mountain is like a huge hollowed out cavity with this slide in it. If it were more like this, that would seem more believable that this is winding throughout the mountain. I think that would have been a lot cooler if it were all tunnels. Thing, but like a huge giant cavity with a slide in it. I don't even know if that could all fit inside of the mountain. It'd be interesting to get the models and see. So I did just that. I pulled the models and put them next to each other, and needless to say, this wouldn't work at all. Yeah, maybe the cabin leads to another dimension or something. I don't know. And so I kept searching, and after wandering around for a while, I found a sign that almost seemed to allude to those other 2 paintings actually being secret levels. Which says cold, cold crevice below. Or cold, cold crevasse. I don't even, I guess it's just saying you can fall right here. But the fact that they use like the alliteration for the name makes you kind of, you know, think maybe that other painting could be cold, cold crevice. Yeah, there's Cool Cool Mountain, cold, cold crevice, and then you have like some other triple C kind of icy level. It would have been cool to see like cabin, crazy cabin. On second thought, I think cozy cabin would be a better name. Could you imagine how cool it would be if there was a ROM hack that adds these levels? I hope so, because I'm not making it. That's too hard. The next thing that I looked into was these teleportation spots. They're pretty strange. The teleporting almost further supports the theory that there's something weird going on with like time and space in these. It's like a wormhole, you know, you can stand in one place and appear in the other because in some way they're connected or identical or something. And it'd be interesting to look at what those similarities might be, what connects the 2 teleport spots. Because like, yeah, like here the similarity here is like you're on the edge of a broken bridge near a big drop. Yeah, it's weird there would be a sign. Oh, I was getting a little carried away with these theories. I see a face. It almost looks like he has a mustache and a beard, right? Like yeah, kind of looks like Bowser a little bit. So I took a little stroll and appreciated just how nice this level looks. The skybox is awesome here. Reminds me of like Adventure Time or something, the Ice Kingdom. Oh. After that, I jumped right back into the theorizing. I started to think more and more about what these levels were before Bowser invaded them. Yeah, like you have like this cabin, you have the ramp, you have the ski lift you can take up there. Like this doesn't seem just like a platforming gauntlet. It really seems like a lot of these areas have like, they already... Okay, so what I was trying to say is that these levels feel like real worlds that had their own cultures and events prior to and separate from the events of this game. But the game does tell you that Bowser created the paintings, so that shouldn't really be possible. However, I sort of don't believe that he did create them. Alright, I'm happy with that analysis of Cool Cool Mountain. We fell off some ledges, made wild assumptions, and pointed out similarities. Now it's time to check out Jolly Roger Bay. I really like the room for this painting. Most of the rooms seem to just exist to hold paintings, but this one's a little different. This one, you know, oh, it's an aquarium. Yeah, it's a pretty crummy aquarium. It's got a bunch of the same exact fish, and then giant painting in the middle. Like, okay, maybe it's still a pretty weird room, but I like it. Let's see what this toad thinks. Wait. Being imprisoned in these walls. I was trying to figure out that. That's a really, really weird dialogue. Well, that's disturbing. After some more poking around in the aquarium, I finally jumped into the painting. But of course not before analyzing it too. It's also interesting that they decided to use this painting, the Japanese version for this game, rather than the original, which represents the level better because it has the boat. Yeah, this looks like the water level Bowser would make. That's like first person drowning. It makes me think they took that texture out of the game because they figured it would be too creepy or confusing for the original, which is really weird they would bring it back for this one. This is probably the most unnerving painting in the game. Let's jump in. The first thing I started thinking about was this boat. How the heck did it get here? That's really interesting because you cannot sail a ship into here unless somehow it was assembled in this water or it was sailed in and something collapsed and caved in and you can't get out now and it's kind of just locked in here. That was when I accidentally stumbled across a really, really interesting lead. This ship could have just fallen out of the sky. It could have just appeared here somehow. Oh, wait, hold on. Isn't there a ship that looks a lot like this in Rainbow Ride? I'm gonna have to look at the models and see how similar they are, because what if this fell out of the sky and landed in this level? This boat doesn't have barnacles, it doesn't have moss. It almost does look like it's just landed in the water recently. It looks like a very old boat that was in the sky until just recently. While I wasn't able to get the model in Blender for whatever reason, I am able to look at it here and compare it to the Jolly Roger Bay ship. And they don't look as similar as I was hoping, so maybe this is a dead end. I went on to speculate about what this whole area might have been at one point, and went through some pretty cool ideas. It's weird that there would be docks here at all, because not only is it closed in, but like look at the bottom. This would be a terrible, terrible place to sail through. You have these big spikes coming out of the water and, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff down there. And actually, when I look at it more, look at those stone. Don't those look like some kind of foundations? Like there would be buildings on those? Because if there were docks here, you'd think there would be at least a building. This seems like a small part of a bigger area that's for some reason surrounded by rocks. It feels like those rocks shouldn't be there and it should go to some big pirate port town. Obviously Nintendo wanted that, but it's just not feasible on an N64. It would have been really cool to see a full pirate town in this game, but maybe it's a little bold of me to say that that's what Nintendo would have wanted. Maybe they would have done something different with this level. Then I started to realize how weird it is that the boat here doesn't have a mast or sails or anything like that. Just the other one had like the mast, which this doesn't have, which is weird. So it can't sail. So basically, unless this has a motor on the back, which it doesn't, it has no means of moving other than by the current. So maybe this is a river. Maybe this is a river boat. This almost looks like a cave without a ceiling, is what this place looks like. Because it does have stalagmites coming out of the water, which is weird. And all the walls look like giant stalagmites. It's very cloudy. It almost looks like the ceiling of a cave, not clouds. I've always seen that as clouds. I think the texture in the files is called cloudy sky or something like that. But the more I think about it and look at it, it kind of seems more like the ceiling of a cave, just very compressed. Maybe the lighting isn't quite there, but if you kind of, you know, if you squint, you can see it. I thought this level was going to be disappointing, but it seems really intriguing. After all that crazy speculation, I checked out some signs, starting with this one. Yeah, here's this sign again. When you step on a strange mystery switch hidden in the castle, the mystery blocks will become solid. This one still confused me. Maybe I was reading it wrong. When you step on the strange switch hidden in the castle, blocks will become solid. But I got a comment on the last video by Cowboy Luigi. He mentioned that the blocks drop bob-ombs if you don't have a cap on. This is probably what they're referencing here, but it's still kind of a weird way to explain that mechanic. Let's check out another sign. I think there was even another sign. This is the Weird Luigi one. It says, certain people have a natural agility and lightness. These slender wisps can run on water for a bit, but only if they sprint towards it. I wonder why they have that power. Maybe it's those green caps they wear that make them as light and as flexible as blades of grass. Wow, pretty cool. Now it's time to make an unreasonable conclusion. There's some kind of big entity, basically, that either created these places or observes them over eternity, basically, and it puts signs for whatever reason to help out Mario. This is another interesting sign. It says, keep out. That means you. Arg. Anyone entering this cave without permission will meet certain disaster. The Cap'n. The Cap'n. I should figure out who this guy is. I've never looked up. Wow, I've never seen that. Or I can look at the ceiling. It just doesn't fit with the rest of the walls. Doesn't it almost look like they could have used one of these as a level entrance? No, it doesn't. Wouldn't that have been cool? No. I wonder if there's any like glitches you can perform with these. No! The pillars are strange. Stop! Just focus on the cabin. But I think it's kind of just a natural hazard of this place. But it is weird that he says you'll meet certain disaster. He kind of knows those pillars are kind of a pain, like they try to hurt you, which could be its own mystery. What's up with this cave? Why is the rock trying to hurt you? Like, not. Finally, I remember that I was trying to figure out more about the cabin. And then, yeah, here's another sign by the cabin. If I can read it. Arg, ahoy matey, I have sunken treasure here, I do. But to pluck the plunder, you must open the treasure chests in the right order. What order is that? I'll never tell. Is it supposed to be that you're gathering fragments of the star from each box? Because it almost seems like each box has a little piece of it. If not, the captain performed some kind of a magic ritual with the star, so clearly the captain is like pretty powerful, because that wasn't Bowser that did that. These are the captain's chests. But it almost seems like each level kind of has its own. There's someone that runs the area, you know, they're kind of the boss of the area. But the captain doesn't mention Bowser at all as having given him this. It almost seems like he just had it. And maybe Bowser put the star somewhere and the captain got it before Mario could, you know, and he was just kind of hanging on to it because he didn't have anything to do with it. Or it was giving him powers, because that's what you see it do with the Wriggler. So maybe it gave him the powers to make this cave alive, or to make these chests electrocute you. Maybe the power stars are the reason for all of these civilizations collapsing, because clearly they're pretty powerful, they make people evil. I really find that idea interesting. Perhaps these power stars led to some kind of power struggle among the residents of these worlds. Then ultimately they were left abandoned after they collapsed. I know it's kind of goofy to look that far into a Mario 64 level, but that's just something I really enjoy about this game. It presented such a wonderful opportunity to me as a kid. It was a version of reality where anything was possible. Of course, now I know that this game is actually way more limited than reality is, but I love to get thinking about these places and sort of make them more real than they actually are. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing in games, and I hope some of you do too, or at least had fun with this video. There are so many conclusions that I could draw from this episode, but too many of them contradict each other, so I'm just gonna leave it up to you to take what you will from this. I kinda wanna make separate videos focusing on specific theories that I've brought up here, cause I really didn't answer anything. I just ran around and went, what if, I don't know. I'd like to eventually cover some of the theories from the comments too. You guys have been asking some pretty interesting questions. Anyways, I'll see you later. Thanks.